Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's soccer night, and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases.
A great day out for the entire family. Kids run the bases after every Sunday home game. Want the best seats all season? Get more Ferry Hawks for only $63. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Larry Kudlow, Hour 3, The Larry Kudlow Show. It's great fun. Welcome back. We're going to talk about the stock market. By the way, let's see, you can get this show on the internet. You can live stream us on the internet. All across the country, around the world, throughout the solar system, including the Milky Way. And one plug on the TV show, Fabulous Fox Business, FBN Network, 4 to 5 p.m. every day. Come join us. The name of the show is Kudlow, 4 to 5 p.m. every day. If you, for some reason you can't make it at 4, just text your favorite 9-year-old. And she will show you how to DVR the show. You'll never miss a thing. And the stock market talk is, it's all about Elon Musk. It's all about Elon Musk and his SpaceX IPO, which has really caught the public imagination. I mean, it's front page news everywhere. It's overshadowed the Iran war. It's overshadowed politics. It's overshadowed everything. So even overshadowed, at least for a day, the New York Knicks, although we're coming back tonight to watch the New York Knicks win the National NBA Championship for the first time. So we're bringing in Jack Bouroudjian, CEO of Cetera Financial Corporation, Jim Iuorio, CEO of JI Financial Strategies, two old friends, two stock market veterans. So, Jim Iuorio, you seen anything like this? I mean, it's totally captured only Elon Musk, okay? I mean, we'll go through some numbers. So what is this? The total was, how much was it? 1.75. Yeah. 1.75. That's a trillion, right? We're a trillion.
We're in big numbers. Yeah.
So the estimate was the price setting was $135 a share. And it closed where? 165, something like that?
Right, after going up to 175. That's about right. Yeah.
All right. So what do you make of this? Talk to me about this, both of you.
There's a couple different elements to it, and most of them are positive, like you set it out, is that it is capturing the imagination. But it's not just necessarily the SpaceX IPO. There is 2 other IPOs that are going to be hyped, not equally by any stretch, but relatively close. So when I see you said, have you ever seen anything like this before? The answer is no, I haven't. But there's some things that kind of rhymed with it back in 2001. I know that's going to drive you crazy that I said that, and I apologize. I don't think we're in for any sort of big, massive bubble pop. I think we're really in this interesting paradigm, and we're in maybe the 6th or 7th inning, which means the inflating the stock market can go up higher and higher before we're due for any sort of significant correction. I am worried about how fast this recovery's happen. I want it a little bit taken off the top in the stock market because I want valuations to be normal. But again, you cannot deny that this is amazing enthusiasm. By the way, I would never trade an IPO. I think the pricing structure of it is kind of chaotic because it's being led by some hype and some real. And I kind of wait to that chart to settle down a little bit. But I think it's amazing.
What's coming out? There's others coming out.
Yeah, Anthropic,
right.
OpenAI.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I want to see how big a hype there is around those, too.
But not as big as this, right?
Not as big.
Not as big. Yeah. Jack Bouroudjian, what do you make? And by the way, when should people buy this thing? If you didn't get an allocation yesterday, if you're not a big institution and so forth, when should you buy it? Our reporter, Grady Trimble, Fox Business reporter, told me it's going to be in an index in 10 or 15 days. They're going to include it in an index or some index funds.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons we've seen so much. It's one of the reasons we've seen so much volatility in the market, especially in the Nasdaq. If you think about it, portfolio managers had to raise cash. They knew this was coming. They had to participate. I mean, everybody has to be part of this IPO. And let's take a step back. Look, you know what? If there was ever a question about American exceptionalism, right? $1 trillion IPO is it? It answers that question right there. So something is happening underneath the surface. It's one of the things, and one of the reasons we created Cetera is basically to measure out and become the S&P for compute. This has to do with data centers in space. This has to do with a multi-trillion-dollar TAM. This is an amazing thing we're going through right now. I think, we're all a little older, and we know that history takes place very slowly and sometimes very quickly if we don't pay attention. We're living through an industrial revolution type era. I firmly believe that. And yesterday's IPO is just the tip of the iceberg. It's almost like a warning signal. Jesse Livermore wrote that in Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. Market always gives you warning signals. That's the warning signal to the upside. And there's more to the story. Look, the president touched on it the other day when he talked about inflation. He said, I love these inflation numbers. And everybody got all upset. He goes, and they didn't listen to what he said because I know what's on the other side. He's looking at the numbers. He sees corn and wheat down near 5-year lows. He sees what's going on.
Gold and silver. Look what they're crashing.
In a couple of months, Larry, we will not be talking about whether the Fed is going to be raising rates. It's going to be disinflationary pressure that gives Warsh the hand to lower rates. And that's exactly what the president saw.
And they're sneaking boats through the Strait of Hormuz and putting more oil on the market. That's one part of the story this week was terrific stuff. Almost half of the 20% oil loss is already snuck through the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices are coming down. Gold prices are coming down. Silver prices. You're right about farming. The only one that's been holding up is copper, Dr. Copper, because the economy's so strong. And it probably has something to do with the AI revolution and data centers. Don't you need copper for that stuff?
But absolutely. Every bit of that copper trade. Yeah, and Jimmy probably knows because he's in that. But just one last thing I want to say, only because you mentioned it. This is the president, by the way, that's going to go down in history that broke OPEC's back.
Yes.
And I think that we're seeing it happen. It's disintegrating. And I think the last news that came out and what the president did through the strait in the middle of the night.
He's going to break Iran. He's going to break Iran's back one way or another. Whether there's a deal or not.
Iran is already broken, but the illegal cartel that's been part of my life my entire time, ever since 73, is now gone.
Jim Iuorio, Starlink, SpaceX, and XAI. Those are the three companies that were bundled in together. Look, Starlink's already making money, right? That one's doing very well and will only do better. Now, he's got to figure out how to monetize AI, right? SpaceX, I don't know how you monetize that. Maybe if you have a thought, but he's got to figure out how to monetize the AI portion.
We gave Amazon how many years before they figured it out? So I mean, we can give them a long leash to try to figure out how to monetize it. I also, by the way, I'm long Tesla. Part of the reason is because I think eventually that all kind of gets folded in together.
Yeah.
But you guys mentioned copper. That was supposed to be my trades of what charts look the best. Southern Copper, Freeport McMahon, which, by the way, that all ropes into the whole expansion thing you're talking about. Like, that I like to look for something to worry about. And right now, there's a couple things, but it's mostly GDP is accelerating. Business equipment investment went up 17.2%. Data center spending. Foreign direct investment, 50% over the last year increase. So there's a lot of really, really good things that are going on. But some of them are still being overshadowed by high oil prices, and that shows up in the sentiment numbers. And I personally think that in 8 months to 14 months, oil is going to be about $55 to $60 a barrel once everything clicks in.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely 100%. I agree with all that. It's fascinating to me. This thing, though, Jack, your little riff there about the exceptionalism of America, it's really part of the story. And, I mean, it's interesting. An immigrant from South Africa, a legal immigrant, I might add, but an immigrant from South Africa comes to America and does all this stuff, people are negative about it every step of the way until he proves them wrong. And he's done it once again, and he's our first accountable trillionaire, and it happened in America, and no other country can do this, okay? No other country can do this.
Larry, it's the American dream. Look,
yeah.
I'm the son of immigrants. I'm first generation here, and my late father heard you once call me a great American on TV. He cried for a week, and you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing that matters because people that came to this country legally, like you say, struggled. They knew. My father waited for 7 years on a list to come to this country and came with $10 on the boat, which I heard about every time I wanted to borrow money, by the way. But you know what? The reality is that you're right. It shows the world what can happen here, and that's why the eyes of the world are on us in every move our market makes.
It's all about freedom and free enterprise. It's about freedom and free enterprise, which we have, and nobody. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, just the notion. People say I stole this from somebody that Europe's a museum. Japan is an old folks' home and China is a prison. Where are you going to invest? It makes me almost laugh to think of trying to start something like this in Europe where you'd be regulated up to the eyeballs and couldn't do it. And by the way, I'm worried about that direction here in years to come. But right now, it is absolutely laughable to think that could have happened in Europe. It cannot. It can only happen here.
And the American soccer team won last night. How about that?
I didn't even know they were in it.
They beat Paraguay. I didn't know anything about it. I did watch it. I played soccer in prep school. They looked very good to me.
But how about my neighbors? My neighbors bringing you Knicks victories. Jalen Brunson's from the town won over.
They're going to win tonight. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and look at some of the other dimensions of the stock market. Jack Bouroudjian, Cetera Financial Corporation. Jim Iuorio has got his new company, JI Financial Strategies. I'm Kudlow, and he's Elon Musk. We'll be right back. So now we'll talk about the rest of the stock market story. We've got Jack Bouroudjian, CEO of Cetera Financial Corp, and Jim Iuorio, CEO of JI Financial Strategies. So, Jim Iuorio, what do you make of the whole story? I'm interested, by the way, in particular, let's see, the 10-year note fell 5 basis points last week, 448. I don't see this big rise in interest rates that people are talking about. I know the inflation numbers, the top line looked bad, but actually under the hood didn't look that bad. But I'm looking at these commodities we were talking about before, with farm commodities and precious metals commodities and energy commodities all coming down. I mean, are you worried about interest rates?
A little bit. The chart on the 10-year still looks to me like 4.8 is going to be within reach. And I think that's a commentary on the fact that we're still spending too much money. We haven't figured that part out yet, which, by the way, I think we're on a path to figure that out. I think the only way that it all works is if we increase economic activity and try to grow our way out of the debt. I think we're on track for doing that, but I am saying that I think the market is still worried that we're spending a little bit like drunken sailors. Now, beyond that, the chart on the Russell looks better to me than the chart on the NASDAQ and the S&P, which to me, that's a very good thing, because that to me is a reflection of our domestic story and the domestic economy. But now the pitfall I still think could possibly be out there, but I don't think it's going to happen, is if the Fed hikes to address this inflation that's already beginning to go away and couldn't help open the straits anyway, even if it's using the wrong tool for this. So I don't want them to make the same mistake the ECB is making, and I don't think they will, but we have to acknowledge that is a flaw in the whole beautiful picture we're painting.
Well, some of these Fed guys think they can print oil.
Yeah, I think they think
not just money.
They can raise rates to $1 million, and that doesn't open the straits.
You're right. They should open up a foreign policy. Jack Bouroudjian, actually, Jim is right. Government spending is too high, but I'm not sure that links into interest rates. But the market, what's your outlook on the stock market?
I think that Jimmy hit it right on the head when he talked about the Russell. Look at this Russell. For the last 52 weeks, it's up 40%. 40% in a market indicator. That is an indicator. That tells you something. The Russell for me is always a precursor. It's almost like the S&P 500 supply chain. So when we start to see the Russell do well, that tells you that the health of America, the health of corporate America is very, very strong. So for me, I think that's telling us that we need to be invested, that we could see some open field running, and the easy money might be ahead of us in the market. It's fighting right now through all of the rebalancing with the big SpaceX and a couple of these big IPOs, and of course these headlines that are driving the market. You get these out of the way, watch out. I mean, we could see 500 to 700 points in the S&P within a matter of a month or two. I mean, that quickly.
You know, I got one for you, Speak. Dow transports are up 51.5% over the last year. 30% year to date. Now, I don't know, this is Dow theory, but that's an amazing number.
You're old school, Larry. You watched the old things like we used to do. I mean, I watched those same things, and you're spot on. That tells you how healthy the market really is.
I mean, that's a big number. I don't see any let up in earnings. Profits are the mother's milk of stocks, and I don't see any let up, Jim Iuorio.
No, but we have to admit that the Dow Jones, the transportation index, is not as valuable as it once was. We are a service of a technology-driven economy. What's in there?
I don't even know.
I think airlines.
Trucks.
Trucks. And shipping. And that's all good stuff.
Trucks are very important. They tell you a lot about the economy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I think that the technology part of this is still the story. And the funny part is that back 2 months ago, in the beginning of April, we thought that the labor market was deteriorating rapidly, somewhat due to AI, and we thought that inflation was going to be persistent for oil. The first part of that has gone away. The jobs numbers have been borderline excellent, and even if you don't fully believe the BLS numbers, most people believe them 75 to 80%. They're never directionally that different than what the headline number is. So things look to be going pretty good.
The U.S. dollar is strong, holding very nicely. The index is around 100. It's holding nicely as these other commodities weaken. I don't see an interest rate threat, but it's all about profits. I mean, earnings are very strong. Look, I think the economy is much stronger. To go back to Jack's riff at the top of the half hour, the economy, people don't want to admit it, or the Democrats want to badmouth it, but the reality is the numbers tell the story. And incidentally, it's business-led. That's the healthiest thing. It's business and profits and productivity led. That's unbelievable.
You have to hope the story gets out there, though, just because they will tell the story about higher gas prices, and they will tell the story about the world's first trillionaire and how unfair that is. They'll forget the story about the 4,000 millionaires newly minted by the SpaceX things, and that in a year, oil, now that we control more of the world's oil, it's going to be much, much lower. We have to tell a better story.
I think it's cool to be a trillionaire. I think it's very cool. Jack,
you know what? It gives people something to look forward to and a goal to attain.
We have to find a second and a third trillionaire, and then we have to find. And by the way, 20 trillionaires make for a whole lot of millionaires. I got to get out of here. Jack Bouroudjian, thank you. Jim Iuorio, thank you. We're going to do some money and politics on the other side, folks, with Liz Peek and Steve Moore. I'm Kudlow. Please stick around.